Good morning. Welcome. Thank you all for taking the time out of this very busy and cold Wassail weekend to come join us this morning. My name is Kate Johnson. I'm your service coordinator today. We have Reverend Leon Dunkley here providing the reflection for us, and we have Tatum, who's here to provide childcare. So thank you both. Before I begin, let me remind you to take this time to please silence your cell phones. We will begin our service with announcements. There's a lot going on per usual at North Chapel, so if we haven't already done so, please take a moment to look over your order of service and read about upcoming events and notices. You may also visit our website for the complete list. If you're visiting today, we would love to have you sign the guest book at the back of the church. And after the service, we welcome you to head downstairs to the social hall for coffee hour. I think, Mary, you have an announcement you'd like to make?
I just want to announce that on Thursday at between about 6 and maybe quarter after 7, the Oneness Center downstairs is going to be having a solstice celebration. So everybody is welcome to come. So 6 to 7:15, 7:30 on Thursday. Thanks, in the chapel.
Next weekend, after service, after coffee hour, we're going to do a school information session. This is for everyone to come, just to see the whole breadth of what's at stake, the pros, the cons, everything. Seth, who comes here, many of you know Seth Webb. He's been working really hard. He knows a lot about it, so he's a great person to talk to. So we'll be here in a very open and loving atmosphere to talk about an important and intense issue for the community. Thank you.
I will now share a few words that resonate with this month's worship theme, which is light. The mornings are dark, the late afternoons are dusky, and before we finish making dinner, the daylight is gone. As we approach the darkest days of the year, we may inexplicably find ourselves, more often than not, content in the dark, finding it easier to stay buried beneath those cozy covers. But whatever is happening in the world, whatever is happening in our personal lives, we can still find light. On sun-filled days, we can let it physically wrap itself around us by sitting by our favorite windows or stepping outside and letting that winter light dancing off the snow bring us moments of blinding joy. For internal kinds of light, we can turn to our friends and family and community. Nothing feels more like sunlight than walking into a room full of people who are happy to see you. We can find light in the arts, in giving, and the rituals of spiritual life. And when the sun is set, become friends with the dark. Perhaps light a fire, a candle, or your stovetop to make a cup of tea. Sit by the twinkling lights of your Christmas tree and let your mind be lit with joyful memories. For finding light in life isn't about avoiding darkness or becoming too comfortable in the shadows, but about cultivating inner resilience, gratitude, and connection, even amidst hardship. It involves embracing vulnerability, finding purpose in struggle, and recognizing that small moments of beauty, kindness, or hope can illuminate the path forward, often by becoming the light for others when we ourselves feel lost. So when you leave today, don't wait for the light. Take the next small step, trusting that effort illuminates the way forward. We will now have a moment of silence for meditation and prayer.
Bob Marley once said, "One good thing about music, when it hits, you feel no pain." I love that. I wanted to say good morning and good Sunday to you. I hope that this new day finds you well. Today is Sunday, December the 14th, and the title of this morning's reflection is Let Your Heart Be Light. Our opening words of perfect poetry come to us from the other side of the world this morning. They come by way of a noble representative from the indigenous Feather Wing clan in eastern Australia near Tasmania. They come by way of the one they call Laughing Bird, otherwise known as kookaburra. Please forgive me if I use a recording that I found online. I don't want to read the poem myself. I can't reproduce the nuance. I was able to find an English version online, written version, a transcription. But when I try, even at my best, I can't make the inflection sound quite right. I can't get the accents to fall in the right places consistently. The essence of the poem is lost in translation, so I want to play a recording, and I think that's okay. Is that okay? Okay. Besides, the beauty is so great that it will just hopefully appeal directly to the soul. The meaning is clear enough, right? We get what we need to get from it. What did you hear? What does this beauty make available to you? What do you feel? What do you know from listening to something like that? What does it mean to you to hear a bird laughing? For me, I hear, cherish these times when life can leave you laughing. I bet you heard something very similar. That was a little bit of a joke, perhaps not too funny a one. As an aside, before we get started, I went to the doctor last week. I'm mostly okay, but going to the doctor is really no laughing matter. This time, to my surprise, though, a brand new issue came up. My doctor noticed that I was showing signs of being perpetually afraid of German sausages. She said that my recent scans reveal that I have a pattern of fearing the Wurst. I'm sorry. I really don't understand why I like bad jokes. I suppose perhaps I should have warned you. I could have introduced this better. I could have said something like, "Do you like puns?" I like puns, especially not so funny ones. And then you might have been ready. You might have been better prepared for the German sausage joke, which really isn't that funny, which is, I dare say, the worst pun I know. Loud and proud and twice, they say. When you've got a good bad joke, say it loud and proud and twice. It won't get the better of them, but it might make things better for you. You may already know this about me, but I love the kind of jokes that make you groan. I don't like the vulgar ones. I don't like the profane ones. I don't like the kinds of jokes that make fun of other people or belittle other people. I like the harmless kind of jokes, the ones that maybe really aren't all that funny, but the ones that make you laugh somehow, even though. The ones that you can only share with friends, because that's how we are, and that's the way it is. The laughter of full acceptance is one of our lines of inclusion. Whether it's friendship or not, it's one of the markers. It's one of the ways we know whether or not we're in good company. When no one throws you under the bus for telling a bad joke. When jokes happen at no one's expense, not even our own. We know that we are friends when we can laugh lightheartedly at jokes that really aren't all that funny, because we know that we are a peaceful, gentle people, and laughing is a form of prayer, a sacred prayer that beautifies the world. This is why puns are so great. Puns are like mischievous little sacraments. They smuggle in laughter through secret places in life, like through the back door or through the side entrance. Joy comes down the chimney in this time of year like Santa. It shines out from the heart according to Jesus and Moses and Muhammad. Joy enters by way of stillness according to the stories of the Buddha, and it comes in through the bathroom window if you listen to the Beatles. Joy comes in protected by a silver spoon, they say. So how is it that you find joy in this time of year? Because the same is true for spirit. This is what we mean when we sing the song, Gather the Spirit. Do you remember the words? Gather the Spirit, harvest the power. Our separate fires will kindle one flame. What this means is that we all find joy in different ways, but we can all find joy together, and we can share our ways of finding a joy that we find together in life. This is what those words mean. We find joy in the Spirit. You know, it's really funny right now. I prepared a service when we started this. I wanted to talk about the meaning and the value of friendship. And I heard Megan talking about the power of lifelong friends. And I wanted to share with you the power of lifelong friends. But I also wanted to share something that's also important, because the sentimentality and the beauty of having a lifelong friendship is not necessarily the important thing. And I've been cleaving to that. I've been holding to that. I've been valuing my life because I have lifelong friends, people that I've known since I was in 3rd grade, relationships that I value that are very important to me. But the most important thing in life is not that we have lifelong friends, but that our friendships are valuable and beautiful. There was a quote that I heard years ago. It was, life is not measured in the number of breaths we take. It's measured in the number of times that life leaves us breathless. Who are the people in your life that help you to meet those times when life leaves you breathless? Because those are our friends, the ones that will bring us to our edge, push us beyond them in gentlest compassion and love, but will ask of us the very best of us and settle for no less. So I was nervous, and I am nervous this morning because I'm asking that of a friendship right now. And it's terrifying to ask a friend to step up into something that may or may not take place. I may lose him, and if I do, God love him, and that's gonna be okay. And he may lose me, and if he does, God love us both, and it's gonna be okay. The beauty of the song that you heard on the bass this morning was Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. It was first sung in 1944 by Judy Garland. It showed up in a musical called Meet Me in St. Louis. The words were, have yourself a merry little Christmas, let your heart be light. Next year all our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas and make the Yuletide gay. Next year, all our troubles will be miles away. Here again, as in olden days, happy golden days of yore, faithful friends who were near to us will be dear to us once more. Soon, someday, we'll all be together, if the fates allow. Until then, we'll have to muddle through somehow. So have yourself a merry little Christmas. Now, it's a beautiful poem. I think it's beautiful. Frank Sinatra recorded the now more popular version years later in the 50s. After asking if he could change the lyrics a little bit. Among other things, he didn't like the idea of muddling through at Christmas time. So his words sing, here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of yore, faithful friends who are dear to us gather near to us once more, and through the years we all will be together if the fates allow, hang a shining star upon the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Sinatra wasn't into muddling. So we changed around a few things. Some people like the changes and some people prefer the original, but fortunately the most important line remains the same, let your heart be light. It's so healthy for us, and it's so important for us as we approach this winter solstice, as we approach the deepest darkness of the season, the longest night of the year. It is so important to learn the lessons of the laughing bird, the lessons of the feather wing lightness and the gentleness in this time of year. It is so important to cast off all of the heaviness of the world and to defy gravity for a little while. It's easy enough to do. We laugh a little and we love a little and we let the heart be light. Light is important today, not only because it's Christmas time, but also because today is the first night of Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the Jewish festival of light, which takes place over the next 8 nights, from the 25th day of Kislev in the Jewish calendar to the 2nd day of Tevet. This holiday, this holy day, commemorates events that took place almost 2,200 years ago now, the rededication of the temple after its desecration. In this way, Hanukkah is a holiday of renewal, and a single candle's light begins this powerful celebration. A single candle's light begins the process of rebuilding. This gentle illumination pushes back on the darkness, and each successive night, it grows brighter and brighter as more and more candles are lit. Hanukkah is marked by successive kindlings of candles on the menorah. It is an outward sign of that which is inward and spiritual and real. So today marks a doubled celebration. It is the third day, the third Sunday of Advent, according to the Christian counting of days, and it is the first night of Hanukkah, according to the Jewish counting of days. And we receive the blessings of these two celebrations in both ways, against the heavy and against the darkness. May we let our hearts be light. Friendship always benefits from the light. Khalil Gibran said, "In the sweetness of friendship, let there be laughter and the sharing of pleasures. For in the dew of little things, the heart finds its morning and its freshness." And Helen Keller said, "Walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light." And Marcel Proust said, "Let us be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom." What is it that you think about these things? Now, Reverend Jan Eller Isaacs, a Unitarian Universalist minister in St. Paul, Minnesota, she was one of my most important teachers. I studied with her for several years. We loved each other, but we struggled a bit. More on her end than on mine. I believe that she would agree with that. It is my prayer that she does. It is my faith that she does. Jan was human and sometimes flawed, but she was always an elegant teacher. Always a beautiful one. She was always honest and true to herself. She was always as honest with herself as she could possibly be. When she offered kindness, it was always truly kindness. When she led with rougher edges, they were honest edges. Reverend Jan Eller Isaacs did not believe that faith was the sweetener of life. She did not believe that it was our job to revel only in our joys and bring our sorrows, send our sorrows heaven-bound, presented like heavy gifts at the base of a sacred mountain upon which presumably God resides, believing that something magical outside of ourselves would happen. No, Jen believed that we must first do everything within our power to make things right ourselves. Everything within our power to resolve our differences, and then, empty and exhausted, ask for the strength to see things through. She thought that when we were exhausted was when the Holy showed up, not before. She was real, and I miss her deeply. She lived her life out loud. She was honest, and for this, she was perfectly beautiful. She wasn't right about everything, and she didn't have to be, because she was honest with herself, gently and brutally honest, too brutally sometimes. The most beautiful gift that we can give one another is that kind of honesty. Jan Eller Isaacs gave me the most beautiful gift, and I am blessed for that. She was a true friend in the spiritual sense of friendship. She was always fond of saying that joy and sorrow are woven fine. They are not to be separated out in life, not to be sorted into discrete containers. Life is not that ordered. Life is not that regimented. If you were looking to find that kind of order and that kind of regiment in life, you may just walk away with nothing at all. Life is messy and life is real. The best we can do is deal with it honestly. Life is like forgiveness in this way. Forgiveness is not ordered. Forgiveness is not regimented. If you are looking for that kind of order and regiment from forgiveness, you may walk away with nothing at all. Forgiveness is messy and forgiveness is real, and it is the very soul of friendship. George Herbert said, "He that cannot forgive others breaks the bridge over which he himself must pass if he would ever reach heaven. For everyone has need to be forgiven." The same is true of honesty. We who are not honest with ourselves and with one another break the bridge over which we ourselves must pass if we are hoping to find the wide open fields of friendship in our lives. There are so many ways to get to those wide open fields, and there are at least as many ways to get lost along the way, especially if we've been hurt, or if we've been injured, or if we've been brokenhearted in some way. These things can really get in our way. They can be obstacles. We can hold the beautiful flower of life right in our good hands, but it won't open if we are all closed up inside. You know what this means, right? It's just poetry. It means that if we are all closed up inside, the flower will blossom right in our hands. But our eyes will be closed, and our hearts will be heavy, and our souls will be too blind to see it. Helen Keller, blind as she was, never failed to see this blossoming flower. I don't know how she did it, but she did. She somehow saw the beauty of the world in spite of the many things that stood in her way. She did it, and so can we. We can overcome anything in life. We can find true friends in life. We can, when we are honest, find real honest friends and be real honest friends ourselves. We can if we let ourselves be light. Sometimes I think I feel like there's no one out there to teach us these things, especially when it comes to friendship. I found a conversation between Simon Sinek and Trevor Noah online. It was very interesting. Trevor Noah forced the question, and Simon Sinek answered. He said that the thing that I'm really sort of obsessed about right now is friendship. There are entire industries to help us to be better leaders. There's an entire industry to help us be better parents. There's an entire industry to help us eat better and exercise better and sleep better, and yet there is barely anything on how to be a better friend. If you think about all the mental health challenges that are everywhere around us that we're facing today, whether it's coping with stress or depression or anxiety or addiction, or even the obsession with longevity, friendship is the ultimate biohack that literally fixes all of these things. The Dalai Lama was once asked about what he thought about the West, and he said, "The West is where you go to waste time." And the conversation sort of bumbled over into like money, and they came upon the insurance industry. And he said, "What do you think about the insurance industry?" And he said, "Meditation is the best insurance." I've been thinking about that a lot. Meditation is the best insurance. Anyway, I was fascinated with their conversation. I encourage you to look at it online. It's beautiful. I can send the link to Joanne, and maybe we can publicize it in the newsletter. As their conversation progressed, they discussed the importance of saying things like, "I love you," especially for men who are socialized away from doing so. Simon Sinek said, "I learned from a friend who is a warrior. He's an active duty military, multiple tours. He has risked his life to save the lives of others. He's awesome. He's a warrior. And you know, you and I have colleagues," he said to Trevor. "We have colleagues and we have coworkers, but they do not. They have brothers and sisters. I remember the first time that he called me brother. I remember that was real. He said, "Hey, brother," you know? And what stood out was the first time I got off the phone and he ended the phone call with me by saying, "I love you." I remember what that felt like. I felt hugged. I felt safe. I felt like I could tell him anything and be anything, and he would not judge me or look down on me. In this season of peace, what could be more beautiful than that kind of acceptance? In this season of peace that is taking place in a time of war, at a time of tension. This might seem paradoxical, but it's actually profound. This is why the holidays, this is why the holy days exist, to span the contradiction and bring a little bit of healing into the world. I'd like to close this morning with a story about spanning the contradictions, a story that comes to us by way of Mexico, through a man named Rudy Francesco. He tells me, that the Mexican government confiscates approximately 30,000 illegal firearms every year. When these guns are taken, they get dismantled and the metal is used to make other types of weapons that will later be used by the military. In 2012, 13 years ago, Pedro Reyes, an artist in Mexico City, convinced his government to donate the guns to him. He turned them into musical instruments. So somewhere out there, there's a tambourine or a drum set or a guitar that's made out of the things that people use to take someone else's lives. But now they create sounds that puts life back into people's bodies, which is to say that a weapon will always be a weapon, but we get to choose how we fight the war. The weapon will always be a weapon, but we get to choose how to fight the war. How beautiful. How can this be? What makes such a transformation possible? This swords into plowshares moment. The best answer to this question is this. It is a short passage that I found in my research. It was beautiful, and this I quote, "The main reason why they say people ought to have guns is to protect themselves. Weapons are the rule of fear, but music is the opposite. Music is the rule of trust." My name is Pedro Reyes. I'm an artist living in Mexico City, and I've been doing sculpture for 10 years. I can hear Bob Marley right now when he's singing, "One good thing about music is when it hits, you feel no pain." I want Pedro Reyes to be my friend in spirit. I want Trevor Noah and Simon Sinek to be my friends in spirit. And I want all of you to be my friends in spirit as well. Friends, we are honest with one another and forgiving of one another in a world that sorely needs both of these things. May we find them in plenty in this season, in this time of waiting and this time of renewal. May we find them in love and in laughter, and in ways and in all ways. May we let our hearts be light. When faith gets real for me, it makes me shake and quiver. I'm not sure if that's visible, but I'm shaking up here because I'm realizing that I have to call upon the things that I believe to manage even the crises that come up in my own life. In the Unitarian Universalist tradition, I was taught that we bring our real lives into the pulpit and we inform our real lives with the Holy Word, with the words of Scripture, which will remind us about how it is meaningful in our lives. Carl Scoville, one of the best and oldest ministers that I know in Boston, said that the Holy Text is the meeting place between the text and our lives. So if the idea of beating plowshares into swords, the ideas of transforming a negative relationship into a positive one scares you, it might be that you, like me, are out in front of the situation, and that what we need to do is just trust and have faith that we will choose the best way we can and lovingly accept whatever comes. May we be strong enough to find our best strength in these times, even if we feel alone, to trust the earth beneath our feet and to trust one another and to move forward with one another in love, gentleness, kindness, and vulnerability. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.